Lucretia Cook, but you can call me Dr. Lala. Welcome back to another episode of the Revolve Podcast, where grief and loss are a journey and not a final destination. Welcome back to the second part of the conversation that we were having with my husband, D'Angelo. We were talking about what we mean when we say giving it to God. So we're going to pick right up where we left off because I think this is an interesting conversation. What do we mean when we say we give it to God? You know, what do we mean personally? What do we mean when we say give it to God? And then we're going to talk today about what that means when we start talking about giving things to God as a couple. Right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, in the previous episode, D'Angelo was speaking on how as the husband, the head of the household, that you're submitted to God, and then what that looks like. And so carrying on from that conversation, how do you know when you're carrying something that God didn't assign to you?
That takes something to sort through. It's one of them things where it's like, you know, you can't control another person. Mm-hmm. You can't control another person and what they do and say. Your response is your responsibility, and what they do is what they do. I mean, you can say different things to try to help them out, but ultimately that's their cross to bear. And so then, you know, you can't be trying to make sure that, you know, so you're always coaching them and trying to tell them, hey, make sure you're doing this and make sure you're doing that. Oh, woman, don't do that. Or, hey, you know, watch that. You can't do that all the time. That's too much. That's not your job. Your job is to make sure that you is covered, that you doing what you're supposed to do. And hopefully the conversations you've had with that person, that they understand it and they hear it, and that you don't have to be constantly a voice in their ear, because ultimately people have to want to do what's right because it's right to do for them. Mm-hmm. I can't make you do right if you don't want to do right. It's just like somebody used to tell me, you know, I can help you fight your demons, but I can't fight them for you.
That's good.
So I'm not finna be sitting there swatting at your demon and then somebody hit me in the back of the head and I look around at you like, hey, what you doing? Yo, no, I'm ready to kill both of y'all. So it's like, yeah, no, we can't do that right now.
Right.
So, if you have to, you can't be in their ear all the time trying to tell what to do. They have to be. It has to be something in them that they want to do. What they supposed to do.
Right. So, on the off chance that you get to this space where you're trying to be that person for them, right? Mm-hmm. When you're trying to, you know, like Holy Spirit them, like you trying to make them do what's right. How do you know that within yourself that that's what you're doing? And then how do you take a step back?
The stress. Mm-hmm. Feeling the stress of it, you know what I'm saying? Because when it's all said and done, you're supposed to have peace. Even when you're dealing with the chaos of your own life, dealing with it brings about a peace in yourself. Mm-hmm. Dealing with that stuff, sorting through it, getting the answers, collecting the data of your emotions, and talking to God about it, and learning more about yourself, learning more about what makes you tick, the nature of the beast, emotional intelligence. All that stuff brings about peace because you're getting answers, you're getting solutions. When you're trying to deal with somebody else's stuff, you can't get no answers with that because it's theirs. You can't really dissect them and their problem and what's going on with them because you don't know everything about them. So then when you're doing all that and you start feeling yourself being anxious, or you find yourself being nervous, or you find yourself being aggravated, and you feel like you got extra stuff going on, it's time for you to let that go. That's not your problem. Because, like I said, dealing with your problem brings peace. Dealing with somebody else's problem brings chaos. Mm-hmm. So that you take a step back from that is you love them enough to let God have them. Love them enough and love yourself enough to step back and let God do what He's gonna do for them, so He can do God and do what He do for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you have to understand by the fact, if something goes wrong with them, that's not your fault.
Right.
It's not your fault. They didn't want to do it. Like I said, I can't want it more. Just like you always say, I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself.
Right.
And so then, therefore, if I stop talking and I stop giving you tips and pointers and tricks and stuff like that, and then it goes wrong, it's not because of me. Like I should have been there more for them. No, they was grown, they knew better, and they decided to do that, and that's on them and not me.
Right. So then, let me ask you this question. So then, how do we navigate that as a couple? With you being the head of the household, So how do we navigate giving something to God together as a couple? Because like you said, you can't do it for me, right? I have to do it for myself.
I feel like you asked me questions to try to trip me up, and I don't like it.
No, I'm
I feel
not.
like it's a setup.
No,
I feel
it's
like that
not.
because okay, finish your question. Finish your
No,
question.
no, that's the entire question because I'm asking because within relationships, right? When we give because we're not talking about just individually. Some folks are in relationship,
Right.
Some people are in covenant, and so then it can be a challenge if you give it to God, but I can't. Right? I'm just saying.
You said you was gonna give it to God.
I ain't said nothing about that.
ain't say
So
that.
I'm saying, in that particular instance, I can say truthfully, that's generally not our testimony, right? But in the event it was, then as the head of the household, then how do you navigate that?
It's one of those things where we have to be on one accord with it. Like I said, it's the honesty of, talking to that partner and honestly making sure that we're both on the same page. And coming to each other and saying, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through. This is the thing. So that therefore we can come together and we can both put this on the altar and we're not going to worry about it no more. And, and like you said, because of the fact that even with me, you're my sugar. All day, every day. Beanie is my beanie. All day, every day. I'm going to always try my best to do what I can do to the best of my ability to help y'all to take the pain away or whatever. But sometimes it takes things like saying, okay, look, let's sit down and let's name this thing. What is it that we're going through? What is this? What's the point? We have to have an anchor point. So it's like, that's one thing. A lot of people, they want to talk about what they're feeling and not about what it is, because the feelings come from a certain source, and so we have to keep on going through it until we navigate to get to that certain source, so that therefore we can put that on the altar. But you have to get to the point where you can be honest with that person, and then sometimes at the risk of hurting their feelings, to sit down and have an honest conversation with them, so that therefore we both can navigate. Because like I said, sometimes it's like, we had these things before. It was like, I will see something and I'm not going to bring it up right now. I'm going to hold on to it and I'm going to wait until God gives me the opportunity to say something. And at certain times, you'll have something to say and then you don't want to say it, and you finally say it, and I'm like, by the time you said that, because we need to go and talk about it. Sometimes we have to do this. So it gets tough when you start trying to navigate other people's emotions and how you feel about that person, but it's one of the things where you got to do it.
Right. You're right. And I think sometimes it can be a challenge, especially when you care. Because if you don't care about that person, I'll say in my experience, maybe nobody else is this way, but if I don't care anything about you, I don't care what I'm saying anyway.
That part. Oh, right? For sure.
So if I don't care anything about you or your feelings or whatever, then I'm going to say whatever it is I have to say, and then I'm going to, move around. Right? That's just how most people navigate. But I think within the confines of a marriage, like you said, it's important that we are able to identify the anchor. So
also, before we go to that, I just want to talk about the fact that even with the question you asked about the fact of how do you know when you got something extra that's not yours. Most of the time, that's one of the big problems of just being able to let go of somebody else's problems, because we care about them so much. We care about our friends so much, or we care about our boyfriend so much, or our girlfriend so much, or we care about our husband or wife or whoever that we care about them so much that we're trying our best to fight for them instead of letting them fight on their own. And so then that's what we have to, so you have to identify the fact that, is this stressing me out? Is this something that I really need to be worried about? Am I making their problem my priority instead of making my problems my priority? Then I need to let that go. Then no matter how much it may hurt me, you have to let that go. Sometimes you have to let that tearing, that right there, even grieving that, sometimes you have to go through the fact of grieving those connections. And that right there could be another monster in itself.
Right. You're so right. You're so right. But I also think too, because right now we're talking about marriage in particular, that it's important that we be able to differentiate, right? Because like you said, I can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's important that we get to the space where we can identify the problem. Mm-hmm. Because like you said earlier, it's not me against you or you against me. It's us against it.
Every time.
So what is it? And then actually having the courage to sit in it and dig until we figure out what it is. Because a lot of times it's easy to do the surface stuff. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So if, let's say you're mad about something, so it's easy to just be mad.
Right.
And I can just say I'm mad. But, okay, but let's go a little deeper. Why are you mad?
Right.
And then what about that made you mad?
Nobody wants to go through that.
I know.
Yeah, nobody wants to sit there and say about the fact that I'm mad. Why? I don't know I am. No, there's a reason why you're mad. Yeah. Like what happened? What they did such and why did that make you mad? You had to keep on going through it and keep on dissecting it and keep on getting down to it. Just like I heard a preacher one time preach the message, said you got to kill the king.
Right.
Because if you keep on killing the soldiers, the king can do nothing but just replicate more soldiers.
Right.
So until you get past all the soldiers and get down to the king and get the king, it's always going to keep on replicating itself. So, but most, like I said, people don't want to sit in that silence and deal with that. Nobody wants to look at themselves like that. Nobody wants to see themselves like that. So, but you have to get to the anchor point. Just like even in a relationship, you can't just be walking around as the man with an attitude. You can't do that. If you sit there, you're connected with somebody and you love them and y'all are connected, what throws me off throws you off.
Right.
What throws you off throws me off. Mm-hmm. So I can't walk around the house with an attitude, even if you know what I'm going through and you know what the problem is, I still just can't do that. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you'll give me the space. That person should be able to give you the space to be able to feel how you feel. But what you feel should not govern and rule over everybody else in the house.
Right.
Everybody shouldn't be walking on eggshells. So it's like you have to get down to the bottom and get the point like, okay, I'm mad. Okay, why? Then you'll get down to, I'm disappointed.
Right.
Right. I'm mad. My mama did this to me, this and that. I'm mad this person did that. I'm mad about it. But at the root of it, why are you mad? Because I'm hurt, because I'm disappointed, because I thought that they was my boy. Mm-hmm. And it hurt me that they did that. And so I'm not really just, it's not just anger, it's disappointment. Mm-hmm. Or about the fact that I thought that person was going to be in my life forever. Mm-hmm. Me and my mama, we came up with this plan. Me and my dad said we was gonna do this. I had these plans for my son, and now this has happened, and now that plan is over with. So I'm disappointed in the fact that they made that decision. Or I'm disappointed in the fact, or I'm hurt by the fact that they did that. So that's what's bringing about the anger. That's what's bringing about the sadness. Is really my disappointment.
Right.
And it's like that once you name that thing, we as a couple can take that to God, because God can't sort through the fog.
Right.
You have to give God what the problem is. If you're going to give it to God and you're going to lay it on the altar, you can't lay, I'm mad.
Right.
That's not it. I'm disappointed.
Right.
Lay my disappointment, my heartache, my heartbreak. We can put that on the altar, and then we can make sure that we are doing that together.
Right. So, because being able to name a thing, we have to be able to name a thing in order for that thing to be healed.
Absolutely. Hi, my name is D'Angelo, and I'm an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? I hired this person, I got this problem. You have to be able to name the problem in order to be able to deal with the problem.
Right. So then once you've named it, how does that change the way we communicate and we are able to pray together? So how does that change that dynamic once we've been able to name it?
Because now we know what the problem is.
Right.
We've sorted through all the stuff. Because like most of the time, like I said, when couples have arguments, different things like that, we're arguing about something that's not really the thing.
Right.
We're not arguing about the real thing. We're arguing about the thing that triggered the thing that reminded us of the thing that made us mad about the thing. And so then it's not the fact that you know what I'm saying, that you didn't take I asked you to take the trash out and you didn't take the trash out. It's by the fact of, okay, so in previous relationships, I used to have dudes that I used to trust and everything. They said they was going to do things and they didn't do those things. And so then when I ask you to do certain things and then you don't do it, it makes me feel like I can't trust you to do what you said you're going to do. So then I am afraid right now. I'm in fear. I'm not mad. I'm just scared that I'm not going to be able to trust you to do what you said you're going to do. But we ain't going to say that. Mm-hmm. She gonna say about the fact that I told you over again to take trash. You don't never take the trash out. You don't never listen to me. This that about it. And we were going there like, babe, I'm sorry. We going through all that right there. But it's like she's not dealing with the fact of I have fear. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid. I'm scared. Mm-hmm. So then most of the time we're not dealing with what it is. But when we get down to the bottom of what it is, not only can we put it on the altar, but we also can make steps in order to change that thing so that therefore we can navigate it and we can walk together. So that therefore I can help you with your hurt, you can help me with my hurt. We can begin to heal each other through these things.
Well, I also think too, in that situation, that also gives us an opportunity to not only present that thing to the Lord, but also to present ourselves, right? Because in this space, I can say, because now I recognize that this is the issue for me. So then, Lord, show me myself in this situation.
See, that goes back to, we don't want to sit with it. We don't want to be honest with it, because we got to talk about the fact that how, yes, him not taking out the trash is a problem, but the ultimate problem is I got something that's wrong with me that I need to change.
I have a trust issue.
Right.
So, Lord, now show me this trust issue. What is the root of this trust issue? Because here's the truth about that. Sometimes we don't even know it's a thing until it becomes a thing. Right? Because I remember when we first started dating, there was something that happened and I was really upset. And then I came to you and I was like, I'm feeling away. I'm not quite sure why I'm feeling away. Let me walk away and I'll be back. Right? But I'll be honest, therapy, lots of therapy. At that point, to get me to the place where I was able to recognize that it wasn't you, it was me. You know what I'm saying? And then for me to even have to be a woman about it and then go back to you and be like, you know what, Papa, I'm sorry. That wasn't you. That was me. I apologize.
Ooh, that hurts.
But but it took a lot to get to that place. But I say therapy and time with the Father, asking him to show me. Because that's what I did in that moment. Like, I had those tools and things that I had gotten from therapy, but then I went to the Father and was like, okay, God, show me. Because I don't think that's him. I don't think so. I think that's me. So can you show me?
I might be tripping. It might be just me tripping. So let me sit back and take a minute and think about it.
And so to be able to get to that space where I can say that, because it does take effort. It does take work. And so with us saying this, I don't want anyone to think that these skills just appear.
It takes hard work.
It takes work on both parties, and also a desire to be in covenant, to love each other.
And trial and error.
Right. To know that we're not perfect. We're not. We're going to make mistakes along the way. But to be able to show each other that grace.
But just like I've always been saying this throughout our whole relationship, about the fact that I say everybody has baggage. Nobody that you meet is going to be just absolved of baggage. Everybody has baggage. But what you have to come to the conclusion is this person worth me staying to help them unpack? Are they worth me staying to help them to heal, to open up that briefcase, open up that baggage and sort through it so that therefore we can get it, they can sort it and put it where it needs to go?
Right.
Are they worth me helping them heal?
Right.
Helping them heal, just like you said, you did some work on your own before I even came. Like I said, fighting your own demons, fighting your own insecurities, this and that and the other. So then therefore when I came along and I'm on the same journey, and then I see what the things that's bothering me, I probably see it in you, you see it in me, and we can help each other through this thing.
I think with that, being able, again, to even acknowledge it, you know what I'm saying? And the big thing is, like you said, knowing whether or not you have the capacity to help somebody on that journey. Because here's the truth. The healing journey is ongoing. Because once you heal from this thing, something else is going to happen.
Something going to happen.
So the healing journey is an ever-going cycle. It's always going. But knowing whether or not you have the capacity to help the person on their journey, I think that's crucial. within the confines of a relationship, because the reality is sometimes as much as you care about somebody, you have to care about yourself more, because you'll find yourself taking on their burdens when you don't even have the capacity to carry your own. Jesus.
That part. I ain't got to. And you have, and it's like, and it's you have to get to the point where you okay with saying that I can't handle that.
Right.
Me and you cool, but I can't do that.
Right.
I know that we've been sitting here, we've been chilling, and everything's all good, but yeah, I can't do that.
Right. But even recognizing it within yourself, though. But again, that means you will have had to have done some work to recognize when you're at your capacity, or this is beyond your scope of relationship. Right? Because sometimes it does get hard, but you have to know when you have to step back, or even to say, hey, I love you, and because I love you, I want you to know that this is a counselor's number. This is the number to a therapist. No. I'm being serious.
I know you is.
Because there's only so much advisement you can get from a friend. A lover. Some things I've said a million times. Yes. Deliverance is needed sometimes. Some things happen at the altar, but some things require a couch and the altar. And it's important that we know the difference.
Jesus plus therapy.
It's important that we know the difference. And so, and even with that, that's where we learn what needs to be given to God. What to give to him, how to give it to him.
Who to give it to him?
That too. Who to give to him.
You need to go to Jesus. You need to go to Jesus. I can't.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So how to navigate those things. And then, as we were discussing previously, what that looks like for you to give it to him. And then what skills and tools and techniques can you learn in therapy to help you navigate having given it to him, so that you don't go back and pick it back up.
That's that right there, picking it back up. Taking the control back.
Right.
Cause we don't like, most of the people, we don't like to give up the control. And that be the thing. You giving God governance means that I'm giving him control. I gave it to God. He's controlling what happens from this point. And it's not about what I like or what I want to happen, because I want you to burst into flames. But that ain't what God wants. So then, therefore, I got to make sure that I give him control, because you still one of his children, even though you ain't mine, but you're one of his. And so then I got to make sure that I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
So then I don't pick it back up. So then when I see you, I still don't want to hit you. Or I see you and I still don't want to do something to you. Or when I see you, it still don't bring about a fear in me or anything in me. I don't pick it back up. This ain't going the way I wanted to go, Lord. It don't feel good to me. Let me take the wheel and see what. No, it's like, no, you got to make sure you give him the control of it.
Right. And so that those, and even with those feelings of animosity, anger, disgust, like whatever maleficent feelings you have about the situation, so that they don't keep coming up. Because sometimes these situations, giving it to God also means that I need to forgive you and I need to forgive myself. Right? And forgiveness doesn't equal reconciliation. And see, I think that's another part too, that we tend to think, especially as church folks, that if I forgive you, that means that we can start back hanging out and going to lunch and dinner and all that stuff. And that's not necessarily what that means. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but not necessarily. Those are not necessarily synonymous. So then my last question for you, if you could tell somebody one thing about giving it to God, what would it be?
That's the thing about giving it to God. You still got to do the work. Even if you give it to God, you know what I'm saying, you still got to do the work. You still got to do what you're supposed to do. And like it's a couple of things that I want to remember, like the different points. Like I said, that the presence of the pain or the emotion does not mean the absence of God. Mm-hmm. That also that emotions are data, that you need to feel them, so that therefore you could be able to process it and be able to figure out what it is God's trying to get to you. And the thing is, drop your ego. Mm-hmm. Drop your ego, drop your emotions, drop what you want, what you think, what you feel, how you want it to go. Drop your ego and let God do what He's going to do. Mm-hmm. Don't think that giving it to God means that you put yourself in zombie mode. Mm-hmm. Giving it to God, you know what I'm saying, that means that you giving Him control, but you still have to work on what you got to work on. You still got to do your part in order to bring about your own healing. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say. Remember that.
Indeed. And so that's it, guys. When we give it to God, that doesn't mean that we're releasing our emotions, right? Mm-hmm. So when we start talking about giving it to God, we're talking about giving Him governance, mm-hmm. which means that He's in control of that thing. Mm-hmm. He's the one who controls it from the beginning to the end, mm-hmm. but then He still gives us the ability to mm-hmm. manage our own emotions. Those are things that we have to work through.
Mm-hmm. And pain isn't punishment.
And pain isn't punishment.
Pain is not punishment. Sometimes, like they say, they always talk about the fact about the olive. You got to press the olive to get the oil. So sometimes you're in a press. It's not your punishment. It's your pressing, trying to bring you to the next level. So.
Okay. Well, D'Angelo, thank you so much for joining us today.
I made it.
I think that's an amazing place to end this episode. And so until next time, keep choosing healing. Keep choosing joy. I love y'all. Bye.